Hello and welcome back to Web Design for Small Business. In this video, part 15, htaccess, we're going to be talking about the htaccess file, what it does specifically, and how we're going to use it for our site. So to begin with, the htaccess file, which gets its name from hypertext access, was initially developed as a means to secure your website. So it would basically it would be placed in a folder that you would want to be kept secure, and it would work in conjunction with a .ht password file that would contain a set of usernames and passwords that would be allowed access to that portion of the site that contained the htaccess file. And that was the internet's kind of first way of having username and password security for websites. However, it's pretty easy to kind of brute force your way through that, so a lot of people have shied away from that and gone into more secure database with PHP support versions of logins, which is what we're using. However, that doesn't mean that the htaccess file itself is obsolete. Because of how it functions, giving us direct access to some of these back-end server functions, we can actually use it to help us create a cleaner navigation for our site using PHP. So we're going to start by creating this htaccess file. So in our NetBeans, if you right click on the source files and go to new, if you don't see one in the drop down that says empty file, it will be located in other, and down at the bottom, empty file. With this new file, we are going to name it .htaccess. It's very important that it's spelled precisely as that, .htaccess, the dot at the very beginning, nothing before it, and as you will see, it will create that file exactly as we have it. Hit finish, and it will create this blank file. So now what we're going to do is, within this file, we are going to write the following commands. So first, options with a capital O, space, the plus sign, follow with a capital W, sim, S-Y-M with a capital S, and links with a capital L. Follow sim links, basically meaning follow symbolic links, which is what will allow this next part to actually function properly. The next part, we need to turn on the rewrite engine. So rewrite with a capital R, engine with a capital E, space on with a capital O. This turns on the rewrite engine, meaning that we can rewrite some of the base PHP requirements for the server. Sorry, not PHP. This is directly affecting the Apache web server. So this affects our HTML code more specifically. Okay. Next, we type in rewrite again and rule. Next, we're going to have the caret, which is Shift 6 on most keyboards and looks like that little up arrow. A set of parentheses. Inside those parentheses are going to be square brackets. Inside the square brackets, lowercase a hyphen lowercase z. Outside of the square brackets, a plus sign. Outside of the parentheses, a forward slash and a dollar sign. Space, index.php, question mark, P is equal to $1. Enter. Now we're going to copy that line and paste it. And we're going to go and delete the forward slash. Okay. Now we're going to just paste that same line again. So we should have it with the forward slash. After that forward slash, we're going to add another set of parentheses. And inside that set of parentheses, another set of square brackets. And inside those square brackets, another lowercase a hyphen lowercase z, then capital A, shift A, hyphen capital Z, and 0 hyphen 9. Outside of the square bracket, the plus sign. Outside of the parenthesis, another forward slash. Then we're going to the end of this, after the 1, add an ampersand, lowercase I is equal to $2, and enter. Then we're going to copy that line and paste it. And we're going to remove that forward slash before the $sign. Skip one line, and we're going to rewrite cond, C-O-N-D with a capital C, space, %, parentheses, inside the parentheses, https, and sorry, those are not parentheses, those should be curly bracers. My mistake. https inside the curly bracers, space, off. Next line, rewrite rule with a capital R, or I guess 2 capital R's, parenthesis, dot, asterisk, space, https, colon, $, curly bracers, inside the curly bracers, http, all caps, underscore host, all caps. After the curly bracers, a %, and another set of curly bracers, and in there, request, all capital letters, underscore URI, all capital letters. A space after the curly bracers, set of square brackets, inside the square brackets, capital R is equal to 301, comma, capital L. And delete the last line if you had one there. And this is what our .htaccess file should look like. So I'm going to go through it all and explain it now. So the top line, options follow symbolic links, basically just means that we're going to follow symbolic links, which if you're familiar with how most operating systems work, symbolic links will allow this next portion to work. And how this works, first we turn on the rewrite engine so that our rewrite rules will be in effect. And these two are basically the same. What it means, this part here is what is considered a regular expression. So people who are familiar with different programming languages will probably recognize it. But what it's saying is that from the root, if you take any combination of letters, lowercase letters, and then have a forward slash, it will translate that into index.php question mark p is equal to, and then whatever we typed in there. The same thing for the second line, except that it doesn't require the slash at the end. The second set, these two, because again they're basically the exact same except one requires a forward slash and one requires that there is no forward slash, but that same anything lowercase, then a slash, and then anything that's either any combination of lowercase letters, uppercase letters, and numbers. And that will be set to the value of I. Now what this is basically the PHP superglobal for get. So it adds a P key and an I key as these two things. And that's what we're going to use for our navigation. And that is all allowed through that follow symbolic links. Now, the second part, or I guess the last part here, this rewrite condition. So basically it checks to see if HTTPS is off. What that means is that when somebody goes to the website, instead of typing in HTTPS, they're just typing in HTTP, so not going through the secure channel. If they detect that, no matter what page they're on, that's what this little asterisk is for, we will automatically redirect them to the HTTPS version of that page. And that's what this does. So it basically forces them to use HTTPS. So if at any point they type in HTTP, it will automatically just add that S in there and force them to use the secure site, so that we're always using HTTPS. And that's what that piece does. So that's what we need for that file. We're going to save that and close it out because we don't need it anymore. Going back to our whatever we decided was going to be the core file that we had up at the top here. And we're going to go in here and underneath the initial require, which is where we left off, we are now going to grab those two variables. So create a new line under the require and create a P variable, and that will be set to filter input parentheses and input get comma P in single quotes comma filter callback comma square brackets double quotes options set to double quotes data secure. Okay, so we're using the custom security filter that we had created in the previous video and calling that through the filter callback, and that is what we are filtering our get P through. And now we're going to go ahead and copy that line and paste it, and we're just changing that P to an I. Okay, so now when somebody types in either one of those things, we will show you. Okay, so going to our website, where we left off here, you'll now see that even if I try to type in HTTP, it will automatically redirect me to HTTPS, and that will work throughout the site regardless of what page we're on. Now, if I type in /admin, it works. It no longer gives us a blank page, which is what it used to do before. And I can add another slash and it will do the same. Now I can go further from here, and with this one I can type in any combination of letters, numbers, possibly not the special characters, and I want you to know it doesn't have to be in that order of lowercase letters, uppercase letters, numbers. It can be any combination of any of those, and we enter that and it still functions. Now what it does is it takes this and it passes that into our variable P, and it takes this and passes it into our variable I. However, because we limited that first one to just lowercase letters, if we try to type in anything else, we will still get an error page because that is not acceptable in the rules that we provided. That can be for the second for the I, but not for the P. Okay. So we got that down, and that's how that works. So now we can use subfolders within our domain as our navigation, even though those aren't actually folders. And that is an easier way for web browsers to discover navigation in pages. Alright, so now going back to NetBeans, we are now going to create that page navigation. So I am just going to create a note and call this page navigation. And then I'm going to create a PHP switch. So we haven't done a switch yet, but it is fairly simple. So switch, instead of if, the name of our variable, so switch P. So what it does is it checks the value of that variable. And then for each case, we list a value. So case menu, then a colon, and menu has to be in those single quotes, case menu, and then do something. So we are going to require and PHP uses the server location, not the web location. So home/username on our web server, our web root, and then resources /menu.php. Now this page doesn't actually exist, but we are going to go ahead and create it right after, so it will. And then after that, we add a break and a semicolon. So what this does is when we put something into our variable for P and it pulls it out, it will check that. So if we had menu, then it would require this file, and then the break makes it pop out of that switch. If we didn't have that, then it would just continue down the line. So we don't want it to keep checking each one, we just want it to pop out. So I'm going to copy and paste this one. I'm going to fix my typos. Going to copy this one. Try not to copy and paste something with a typo. And I have 6 different things. So for each one, we have location, order, and these are going to be all of yours that you have listed here. So menu, location, order, admin, register. And then we'll have one extra one at the end. And apparently I can't count because I have 2 extra. Okay, so for this last one here, the case and menu, we're going to delete both of those and write default. So this one basically will be our catch-all. So if it's not menu, location, order, admin, or register, it will automatically default to this one, which means that we don't need a break because this one is the last one, so it just pops out automatically anyway. And this one is going to be our home. And then I'm going to go back through these ones and change them all. Location, order, admin, register. Alrighty. So now I'm going to save that. Okay, and now we need to go and create that folder. So folder, resources, and now in here I need to create those pages. So PHP file and home.php, and for now we're just going to leave that blank and save it. And we're going to do this for each of those pages. Menu.php. I don't actually have to type the PHP in here. It will automatically choose PHP because I selected PHP as the file type. If you want to save that step, save, close, new PHP, location, finish, delete, save, new, PHP, order, finish, delete, save, new PHP, admin, finish, delete, save, PHP, register. Delete, save. Okay. So now if we go back to our page, refresh it, and we go to any of those locations, they all actually work now, as you see. Boom. And now we can actually go in and edit those individual pages. However, we will save that for the next video. Okay, and the last thing we need to do before we go, now that we have all those pages, with any other folder, we have to create a index file. And in the index file, we are just going to copy and paste this line that we had created for our other ones, and save that. Okay, now I will see you guys in the next video.